Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Wireheads, the Cyberpunk Red podcast that you tune into every Thursday. We are done with all the tier lists. We're out of the weeds there. However, we are getting back to GM craft, other major topics of the likes, and we'll have some exciting stuff coming up down the road.
I just realized the pun in what you said, out of the weeds there. Haha, very funny.
Yes.
Very funny.
Anyway, for anyone who might be new around here, hi, welcome to episode 71. I'm Diamond Dust. I'm a net running VTuber. I am also a professional GM. I do a lot of stuff on Twitch, but I've also got some stuff coming up for YouTube. Including putting on my tinfoil hat and probably conspiring or taking guesses at what conspiring about what might be coming in the next book based on what we have now and what we had in like all the information we have now about Night City. That's it. And then with me always, my best friend.
Hello, my name's Emmerron. I live in the walls here.
I live in your walls.
Exactly. See, but yeah, I do some content creation, some pro GMing, some RPG convention coordination, some traveling to a variety of events, both RPG and otherwise, and live in some degree of stress near constantly. It's wonderful to be here.
we need to just get like a bunch of just like baseball caps and just write like, you know, the many different tasks and just stack them on your head.
They wouldn't fit. They wouldn't fit. It would fall over before you got done with it. I promise. It's the life of a freelancer is a busy one. Is a busy, multifaceted one. I love it, but it's a lot. So yeah, we are one aspect of that actually, and I didn't mention this in my half of the episode, but I'll mention it here. Next week, our show will be an hour later than we typically want it to be. Normally we start at 4:30 p.m. Pacific this time of year. Next week we'll be starting at 5:30 p.m. Because I have a meeting for one of the many hats that I wear that I cannot miss. So that is going to be a thing we will address next week, or rather something we will have to deal with next week, just to give everyone the heads up on that as much as we can. We'll probably still upload this along the same time frame as we typically would, but just so you're told in advance, that is something we are going to be contending with.
All right. So, if you are showing up on this half of the episode, if you want to go back to the first half of the episode, down in the description, there will be a link that takes you over to Emmerron's channel. And we were talking about co-op net running. And on this half, we are going to be talking about rival crews today. Now, we've talked about making, you know, enemies, making bosses, making factions. We've talked about a lot of like these like further out groups that the party will encounter. But the one that kind of slipped my mind is always, who are those that just really grind the gears of your party? Thus, the rival crew. You see it in a lot. You see it in a lot of these action movies. There's always that other group that's like either playing the opposition or racing against the clock against the protagonists. I don't know. I feel it's in a lot of different variants of media. Too many to list. So I suppose I will define like a rival crew, and I'm also going to take Emmerron's definition of a rival crew. But like for me, the way I define it is the rival crew is going to be, in the case of edge runners, likely another group of edge runners that have a common goal but different means and different reasons for reaching that goal, and have no issue cutting in and cutting through the your crew's way to get what they want. What about you, Emmerron?
I think for me, it's a little more rival. Really, to me, says this crew isn't just opposed to your group. It is also like it's almost personal thing, right? Like you are, and maybe it's not like strictly opposed, but you regularly are stepping on one another's toes or competing at some level with one another to achieve similar goals, or you're trying to outdo the other on very similar gigs, or maybe even the same gig. Like if you are regularly stepping off against this group at the Afterlife or one of the other clubs in the city that like your crew regularly attends as like patrons, if you go to the same fixers, like all of this can define like why are they a rival to you. The added thing that I would say is they are also likely, whatever things your crew has access to, they do too, more likely than not, or something very similar, if not exactly the same. And this would be things like HQs. This would be things like guns. My kind of the best analog to this that immediately drops off the top of my head here. And again, if you watch my FD episode, you'll know I mentioned I've watched a lot of 8F streams lately. And that means I've been watching a little bit of Pokemon lately. One of the things that I immediately think of with rivals is your rival in Pokemon games. And the way that you typically have to struggle to beat your rival at every turn. And that is because they have access to a fair amount of the same stuff that you do. And they are not locked in and defined by a set theme like gym leaders are throughout the game. So you can look at rival crews kind of the same way. They aren't as maybe locked into a core identity as your average gang leader is going to be. They are not stifled by the problems availability might provide a lesser group of people on the street. They are going to be just as notorious as maybe you are or your crew is. All of that to me walks into defining how a rival crew is shaped, what they're capable of, and why from a like a perspective based kind of discussion, they are running up against your crew as often as they are.
So with that being said, rival crews, this should be, as you said, a recurring thing that comes up every once in a while during a campaign. Now, given you some of you may say, well, Diamond, what if they're not in my enemies list? That's fine.
Yeah.
You're going to make enemies. You will make enemies as an edge runner. You will step on someone's toes the wrong way, and they are going to hate your guts for it, even if it's for some of the most petty reasons.
Well, and somewhere along the way, some of your crew very well may have it where they may not have an enemy explicitly, but there are several roles in the game that ask the question in their role-based life path of who's gunning for you. And this can be a corporation, this can be lawmen, this could be other edge runners, this could be any number of people. And while those people may not explicitly be an enemy as defined by the life path, they're probably a rival of some kind, or at the very least, they are motivated to either secure your skills for themselves and exploit them, or to take you down for whatever perceived either wrong or slight or altercation that they view you as having committed. So yeah, there is that layer to consider as well for any GMs out there who are asking like, well, none of my players have an enemy on their sheet. They probably have someone who's gunning for them though, and it's probably not a bad idea to define like the full extent of like who are they, what do they look like, what is their crew like, or the crews that they regularly work with in the case of them being like an exec or a fixer. Because if they are dabbling on the street, if they've dabbled with your character, they very likely are doing that with others as well, and it's very possible that they're going to leverage that at some point against you. And that's where a rival crew can spring from.
So I suppose another thought is like, you know, where might they come from as well? And of course we have, you know, who's gunning for you. And one of my first thoughts is like John Wick and Cassian from John Wick 2. Like professional. I see it kind of, I don't know, would you say like a professional rivalry? Like there's nothing personal between those two, but very much like what, I don't know. Is there like any other bad blood besides the fact that John did what he did?
No, but that made it personal for Cassian. That's the thing. It's no longer a professional thing. It is very much a personal thing that Cassian's pursuing John. He calls the idea of killing him quickly a professional courtesy, but there's nothing professional, like nothing that is like solely professional about what he's doing. It is a deeply personal mission he's on to attack John that way. So yeah, like I don't believe in defining that as like not personal. It is very personal.
So that is like getting personal. I think that is the easiest way for a rival rival crews to pop up.
Yeah.
Another way I've seen it, I've seen another GM do it before, is fixer versus fixer, but it's very much both fixers want this thing, and both crews are going out to get it, and there is just a chance both. And I've seen the gig play out where it's either crew A, the party gets the item and they're on their way back, they get ambushed by rival crew. B, rival crew ends up getting their hands on it, and you know the party needs to go get them. Or C, wrong time, wrong place, Chumba. You're both in the same. You both show up in the same warehouse, and then it turns into a firefight there.
Right.
And then I'm trying to think, like, what if like edge runners and corporate level, like what would cause that kind of rivalry where it's someone in the corporation versus the corporation? Because if it's just the corporation, they could just literally drop the hammer on this crew.
Well, it's probably gonna stem, so it depends. Rivalry there might not be as clearly defined as crew rivaling the corporation. It would likely more be the corporation hiring another crew and setting them up against the party, so that corporate contact that they have as like a mutual in the middle of that turns into an enemy, right? As a result of this. But usually they're going to play the role of the puppeteer more than the dirty hands in the middle of it. There is a chance that a corporate rivalry bleeds over to be a crew rivalry, especially if the exec in question is one of the crew members, because this very much sets the crew at odds with the exec's enemies, like they were enemies of the crew. And so there's very much a case to be made for whoever that exec's target is now, whoever they're associating with turns into almost a rival crew of a type. I think when we talk about crews, usually we're talking street level more than we're talking corporate like that. So I would almost, if you're gonna play that card, unless the exec in question is a member of the party, I would lean it toward the party is going to be a more of a
would that be like level?
It could be. It's probably that because like when we had James on, he talked about how there's this like continuum, right? It's not like a hard binary, you are merc level or you are street level.
Yeah.
There is this little borderline that sits at the edge of both, where they kind of bleed into one another a little bit. And you almost, when you hit the climax beats of those confrontations, you're very much at that bleed line a little bit. But I would say that up to the point you're there, it's very possible that you have a street level rivalry, your crew versus another crew, that have been set against one another by this corporation or by an exec. But typically the rivalry, if you're playing with like the exec in your party, that rivalry doesn't really hit the top of its climax beats until you are nearing the end of the end game. That's the kind of thing where you're saving those payoffs to be late game kind of confrontations. Those are not low level confrontations unless the corporation's tiny. Like if the corp they're working for is a small corporation, maybe that could be done in more like mid game. But if you're playing with the big boys, Continental, Militech, Ziggurat, like literally any of those types of corporations, we're not talking about low level play. We're talking about nearly merc level play. The corp at some level there is definitely going to bring more merc toys into the conversation, almost certainly. That, in my mind at least, that's the way that I would be playing it out.
It would be very much like, you know, B's run for oh gosh, try to remember the device that V's trying to get alt to.
Mikoshi.
Yes, it's like that's probably like where you're gonna be seeing that high end play coming in. So the composition of the rival crew. I've been asked about this one, and I've even asked this one myself before. Like, what would the composition of a rival crew be? And usually I look at, if there's a netrunner in the party's crew, the other crew is going to probably have a netrunner to, you know, interfere, you know, in any net operations that are happening. There's always going to be some form of muscle. Whatever variant that muscle might be. Solo is always just the easiest. Well, I'm not going to say easiest, trying to discount Solo, but they're probably one of the top choices to go with there.
I mean, I would almost argue every crew worth their salt will likely have a Solo in some capacity.
Yeah.
Or at the very least, someone who can play like a Solo. Because like we've described before, Solos are the best at doing what they do in terms of fighting, but anyone can spec their character to fight almost as powerfully as a Solo can. They just don't have a lot of the bonuses that edge the Solo out ahead of the pack. That's the main thing that's going to land differently there. But everyone's going to have someone who can be a pointman somehow, right? Whether that's a tech or Solo, or in some cases you'll have that be like a lawman. In some rare cases it might be something like a nomad, but you're gonna have someone who can play pointman for sure.
And also something I've also thought about with rival crews is perhaps there is members of this crew, of this rival crew, that you don't know are a part of that crew. This is where the fixer comes in, or the rocker comes in, and they, I've played this one before where it's just very much fixer for rival crew, you know, organizes a job. It's just like, really easy job. I just need you to watch this container until it gets picked up. 500 eddies. It's near the end of the month. You could probably use the extra boost. Players took the bait, and well, it's very much a stab them in the back and, you know, leave the players, you know, guarding a box full of illegal narcotics for the rival crew's lawman to lead a bust on. So it's it's one of those where you don't have to show every member of the rival crew right out the gate.
Right. Well, and you might even get to play the card as like an escalation a little bit here, where like at first maybe an enemy, or at the very least someone who views the party or a member of it as a threat worth considering, you will sometimes see that turn into, I'm going to hire an assassin. That assassin's going to try and go after them. And if they fail, they're going to retreat, right? And maybe we never see that assassin again. Or maybe if this assassin, is able to reason with the person who hired them to go after the group, that despite the fact that they technically failed, they only did so because they were not able to engage on even terms with the crew, and they lost the advantage of surprise or something. This can then turn that person into one member of a rival crew. Because the next time that hiring person, whether they're a fixer or corporal or whatever, they are going to more seriously weigh why that person didn't do the job to completion the first time, or didn't succeed at getting it complete the first time. And that is really quickly where that can kind of develop. There's almost a really interesting opportunity for this if you ever run the Jumpstart Kit adventure, Definitely Not Kansas. There's a pretty solid way for you to convert a character in that to becoming a rival of the crew, regardless of if their incentive for doing that is solely motivated as it being just a job, or whether that becomes a personal motivation of, no, I'm going to get revenge because of what the crew did to me. If they are left alive, that is something where I'm not going to spoil it beyond saying that there's an opportunity for that for GMs to take advantage of if they so choose. But that is one of the best gigs we've talked about before on this channel. Definitely Not Kansas is straight up one of my favorite gigs of all time, and I would highly encourage anyone who's looking for a new gig, if you're open to doing the kind of awkward translation that you have to between the Jumpstart Kit and the way it lays the gig out versus the modern way of doing it. And again, most of that work is done for you through the Jumpstart Kit conversion kit or conversion guide. Forget what they call it.
Conversion guide.
Conversion guide, yeah. So if you use that, it's kind of just like a decoder ring for that. It does make that a little more awkward to run than things that are just presented as like a single, very straightforward. You run it from the article type scream sheets like you'll find in the data pack or whatever. But I would recommend that if you want to see what it looks like when the crew is thrown a complication of, this gig wasn't everything you were sold, and there are other people involved that have it out for you. That gig does a really solid job of kind of illustrating how those beats get played and what that looks like. So yeah, that would be something I would highly, highly recommend.
I suppose another really useful, and a lot of people kind of glance over this specific role when making a rival crew. Medias. A good rag can go a long ways.
It's true.
Or, anyone that might be, or if you guys happen to be doing some really sketchy shit, a media, catching a good picture of you guys doing sketchy shit, suddenly your contacts dry up. You're getting jobs from people that are probably paying less for more dangerous shit that you're doing. And your rep goes up for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah. I was a player in a crew where that happened to us, and it was in the wake of some of the stuff we were experiencing with the Red Knight duology. Those of you who know will know. After the first half of that duology, we were very much blackmailed like crazy, and it was like we had to really work hard after that to really showcase like, no, this is not us. Like, let's be very clear about that. It was a fight. It became a very uphill fight. And that is something that definitely I would encourage GMs. Like, if you want to lay out rivalries that feel like they've got some wedges underneath them that the party can't shake easily, medias create that in spades. Medias and Rocker Boys kind of both can. Medias stick harder though. Just because they're very much like, they are comprehensive about the way that they will dress you down and besmirch your name.
I mean, like, let alone some like with medias at rank 5 of media stories, they go citywide.
Yep.
So literally everyone across the city will hear about it. 3 or 4 people in like your your neighboring districts will have heard about it.
Yeah.
So the longer you let that media keep singing, the worse it's going to get. Because something you need to do with your rival crew is you got to rank them up alongside. Well, I don't know how you feel about it, but like I feel like keeping like their ranks going alongside the party, so that way they kind of stay on pretty even footing.
I think if you're utilizing a rival crew as like a centerpiece of your game, there's almost a degree to which I would say it's almost imperative that you are kind of tracking the exploits of this rival crew a little bit in the background. And you would do this through a thing like single player mode. You could do this through something like just straight outlining, like, well, while the player crew is dealing with this thing, the rival crew is dealing with this other thing. And if you are the kind of GM, and this is where we get into high effort GMing. This is not for the faint of heart, but if you are really extra and you want to go crazy, you can write scream sheets, and you can regularly be highlighting within these scream sheets what this other crew has been up to, because your party's agents, which technically are how they are getting fed these scream sheets, are regularly telling them like, hey, this might be of interest to you because this is someone that the party has their eyes on. So the AI knows, and it will give it to you if it thinks you're interested. So that is something that you could also do to kind of layer that in and keep that front of mind. And you as the GM almost can be like awarding that crew IP in the background so that you're leveling them up over time. I do think that's a very fascinating way to do it. I will say that is not, again, it's not for the faint of heart. It leads to a lot of accounting that you need to do as a GM if you're going to do that. But it does lead to some really satisfying plot threads if you are willing to put that work in.
We have single player mode. That's gonna be a way run your crew and give them their experiences as well that way. And that could be a way you generate the stream sheets on top of all that. Yes. I'm kind of looking around at like some of the other roles that we have here. Techs are always a great rival. Your party has tech. Your tech probably loves to make things, but surprise, your tech's not the only one that knows how to make it anymore. Yeah, no, exactly. It's a classic squabble right there. Patent rights.
I've one of my players back in Neon Inferno Season 1 hated me the day I told them, yeah, this other guy comes out with a gun, and they're like advertising it on the local garden media, right? Or like the network media, whatever it was at the time. I forget exactly how I brought this up, but it got very obvious that like this was her invention and they had managed to steal the invention somehow, right? They managed to get the blueprints for it or whatever. And she's like, that's my fucking invention. I want this one dead. They are going to die. I'm going to kill them myself. Like, they were mad. It was so fun.
This sounds like a spin of The Big Break. I love that.
Little bit. It was very much like like, these people will die screaming at my hands, says my tech that invented this thing. It's really, when you play that card and your players buy in, oh my god, it's so much fun.
Oh yeah. Oh, I've done that to a tech before, and mind you, this tech, full Chicago accent. He has what? No, this ain't. No, this is not fucking happening. And like, just he keeps the accent the whole time, and like all of us are like, oh damn, he's bad. Oh, he's bad.
Oh, he angry, yeah.
This guy proceeded to discover that the tech in question was a netrunner who breached his phone, picked up the blueprints, and then, well, bunch of poor quality variants of the thing that he makes were getting put out onto the market.
And probably all attributed to him, right? Like,
yeah.
Well, because like I'm thinking of God. So this is gonna be tangential, but it's funny, and I think that warrants it. I don't. Are you familiar at all, Diamond, with Trax NYC? Are you familiar with?
Yeah, I think you told me the story. Yes.
I was like, I couldn't remember if I had. For
is this the jeweler that got in the fight?
Yes. So for our audience, Trax is this diamond seller. Like, he's a diamond jeweler in particular, and a diamond, I suppose you could say, trader within the New York City Diamond District. And there was another shop whose name I cannot recall off the rip right now, that were selling basically counterfeits of his work and were attributing it to him. And this enraged him to the extent that one of these people that they had sold one of these counterfeits to came into his shop and said, hey, this is one of your pieces, but this thing's already like falling apart. It's not up to snuff, right? And Trax looked at this and he's like, I never made this. Like, he's very clearly aware. And so he looks at this guy and he says, I'm so sorry you've had this happen to you. Where did you buy this? Because I don't think this is my original work. And he told them it's this other shop. And so Trax, first of all, refunds this guy the money he paid at this other shop. And he did not have to do that, but he does it because it's his reputation on the line. So he does that first of all. Then he goes over to this other shop, and the like signature line from this is, where's my fucking money? And he's like slamming on the fucking counter. He's freaking out at these guys. Like, he's getting ready to fight them.
I have the video. I will share it in media for both of our servers. But like, goddamn, he is angry.
He is so
AK Jewelers.
So, AK, yeah. So it's, yeah, or AK Jewelers. I don't know how you pronounce it. Bottom line.
AKAY.
Yeah, that's where I'm like, I don't know if you pronounce it AK or AK, but whatever the correct pronunciation is. They end up choking him out by his own chain that he's wearing on his neck, and removing him from their shop that way. And as last I've heard, there is a lawsuit still ongoing between the two about exactly what happened there. So like, everything I've said is based on what I saw and what the parties have alleged, but it's very much like, that is what a tech in Night City can turn into very quickly. They see one of these larger tech firms, or even like a larger independent tech like Faisal, because Faisal was the one that got a hold of the blueprints that my tech had made and was making their weapon for them, essentially. And so, yeah, Maya was the player whose tech was affronted by this. They were very much of the mind, like, she said, like, I'm going to go and I'm going to kill Faisal. I'm not kidding. I'm going to kill this man. And I'm like, holy shit. She was not happy. So yeah, that's.
I don't blame her.
If you want an example of what that can look like IRL, that is what it looks like when someone counterfeits your thing, passes it off as, yeah, this is this tech's work, and then all of a sudden that tech gets word of it, and things get very violent very quickly.
And then, I'm looking at the other roles. Lawmen, of course, it could just always be a cop that's just got a chip on his shoulder because of some shit that your crew did.
Or there's corrupt.
That, or, corrupt, and maybe perhaps, there's an incentive to drag you guys in, but it's got to be done by the books, so that way they got a good case going in.
Or at least mostly by the books. Like, we all know that cops in Night City never play it all by the books.
The legal system probably doesn't either.
They'll turn their body cams off and shit and beat the fuck out of you. Like, that's not by the books. That's just for them. But, like, yeah, it's they need to justify it in a way the books recognize at the very least.
And also, it could be a protection gang. Maybe perhaps your crew has just said, no, we're not paying your quote-unquote protection fee. It's not happening. Oh, that would go over real well with the Claws or Sixth Street or other groups like that with racketeering.
Certainly a choice when you're facing a protection gang. Yeah, I don't know if I would
go over so well.
I don't know if I would do that one if I were you, unless you are willing and aware of exactly what the consequences of saying that sort of thing are. That has a John Wick analog. That is very much the man shows up to your door holding a marker and says, I need John Wick. I need you to help me. And you refuse him, and he burns your fucking house down. He burns your fucking house down in a violent, explosive fashion. That is what will happen to you if you turn down these larger protection gangs. Yeah. And then this is another way that rival crews can kind of blow up out of nowhere. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Trying to think. Nomads, I mean, there's gonna be family. Family are going to bicker. Sure, the clans for the most part they for the most part kind of seem to be working together during the time of the Red, but there's always going to be that one group that, or like maybe perhaps amongst the Aldecaldos, like perhaps there's just that one pack. Just don't leave those guys alone. They're unreliable, or they're always just trying to get the extra privileges out from under you.
We know that there have been altercations between nomad clans plenty. We hear about some of them even
in 2020.
Well, in 2020 and even in the time of the Red, like we know that there are enough of these altercations that like Woodchipper acts as a essentially a diplomat between the different families. Even though she herself is mostly an Aldecaldo, she serves as a sort of diplomat that is there to help the clans negotiate where there are differences. Like,
and like that could also just be a case of just perhaps your reclaimers, the nomads keep coming out to take shit that you guys are trying to use, and that becomes very much like one of those kinds of feuds instead.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, okay, these guys technically no one has rights to it. Are you really gonna risk your life to possibly piss off this nomad and their family, or are you just gonna be like, all right, fine, take it, fuck off, kind of situation? Also, nomads are fast. They have wheels. Your crew might not have wheels, and that's going to create complications.
Well, and it also means that the nomads can be everywhere that your crew needs to like go slow to. They literally can beat you anywhere. They can ambush you. I mean, like nomads with a grudge can be terrifying depending on what they're open to doing ethically. Like if they're unethical and they are willing to like bend or even break rules to make sure you know exactly how bad you fucked up by crossing them, they can do some heinous shit.
I mean, I've had it where, you know, the Joe, like one of the nomads in one of my parties was part of Joe Nation, found out a member of the rival crew kept killing off members of their pack because they were just getting pissed off with the specific nomad. So what ends up happening is they catch the specific crew member and just gets dragged across the desert for miles.
So Cyberpunk, when was the last time I saw a nomad without a crutch? Yeah,
that's true.
But to be fair, they aren't exactly embraced by a broader society within the narrative, and so unless you are one of them, you aren't of them. And then Oscar, go to Protection Gang's hideout, put down so much C6. Gumby is jealous of your putty. Put it on a detonation switch. When they come to collect, detonate. Should have paid me for protection, bitches.
C9, we love serious putty.
If you're gonna deny them, you better be ready to fight them, is all I'm saying. That is an example of being ready to fight them. Like, oh my god, that is, yeah. That almost is a gig unto itself for your own protection.
Oh, I just saw the perfect one, especially because I do want to run a trauma team campaign at some point.
Yeah.
There's going to be that meat wagon crew. There's going to be those groups riding around in their little fucking armored ambulance trying to beat you to your calls. Oh, yeah. That's going to go over real well between Mentex.
I love it. I always love that shit. That's so fun.
Oh my god. Imagine being a patient and both REO Meatwagon trauma teams show up and you're not getting any help because, you know, two paramedics are beating the dog shit out of each other. Their protection are all shooting at each other in the process and you're just bleeding out on the ground. Man.
Yeah. That very much turns into the trauma team. Step away from the patient. No, you step away from our patient. Yeah, your body literally becomes a turf war, which is just a fantastic place to find yourself. Honestly, that would be a fun setup for a gig in general, where you're being hired by one side or the other to recover this patient and just getting caught in the middle of this fucking mess. Like, oh, this could be so fun.
Oh gosh, but neither trauma team or REO are picking up my client. I need you to just get in there and get them.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh man, that could be so funny. Could be really funny.
Oh no,
that's a Scream Sheet length gig if ever I've seen one. I would like to try that one out sometime. But yeah. REO, I'm on speed wagon. Yeah, exactly. Ain't that the truth?
Rocker Boys, I mean, celebrity drama, that's just a thing.
That would be a fun... Diamond, Oscar pointed out, that'd be a fun dual tables gig for doing that.
Oh?
Like, you have one crew helping REO, the other helping trauma team, and then clash them. PvP that shit. That could be a fun con event.
Oh my god.
That could be a real fun con event.
That sounds like a next...
That might be a next Gen Con thing, but...
we might have to ask Monster Fight Club if, like, hey, could we, maybe get some miniatures for Trauma Team and maybe REO Meatwagon?
That could be fun. No, that genuinely could be a good time. Yeah, no, I'd support that. But please continue. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just wanted to be like, God, that's such a good idea.
That sounds like a really good Gen Con idea. That sounds like, a Friday night special or something like Friday Night Firefight. There we go. We got it. We got it, folks. We've done it. We've won Gen Con. Anyway. So that being said, Rocker Boys. Oh, celebrity drama. We see it every fucking day in real life. Someone's mad at someone. There's people going back and forth. Tech bro says tech bro is wrong. Politician says politician is wrong. Someone slept with someone else's input. You got the whole, gallery of options there for Rocker Boys. And of course, they're fans.
Well, and this
My
is...
gosh, if you've met some bigger VTubers fans.
Oh, yeah, fuck.
Any Idols fans.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. You enter that space, get ready to fight for your life. The best example of this, actually, that we've seen in one form or another, bucket full of popcorn flavored kibble. There's like a really clean example of how this can play out and to what extent this can kind of work. Like if you guys haven't played through that one, or GMs, if you haven't run that at your table, it is different. It's not going to feel as punk as most cyberpunk gigs, but it is very indicative of this kind of social rivalry. I
really like it because, you for some of my crews that have been through it, it's just like, oh god, oh fuck, everything's bad. Oh hey, oh no, that's actually kind of bad. Oh hey, this is fine. Oh fuck. You just put enough of the oh fuck in there, but it's not quite enough. It's the beach episode.
Yeah.
Almost.
It's a beach episode with the cyberpunk flair not getting totally muted out of there. Like it's still very punk in its own moments, but it's punk against a Hollywood backdrop, which is a weird place to find it.
Also, it just introduces some fun, different shit and also really makes medias and fixers shine on who they might know as well.
Yeah.
So, I suppose to kind of put a final wrap on all of this, because we have ideas for all these different roles. I think I got every role in here under the sun. Execs. There's always going to be fucking Henry from accounting or shit like that going on. Trust me, my boss was trying to kill me in the last campaign I was in.
And note how that was end of mid game kind of stuff when that confrontation came to a head. So that just further illustrates my point that I was talking about when we talked about that a little earlier. The added capstone I would place on gigs that involve rival crews specifically, or if you want to make a rival crew kind of like a recurring set of characters, they, more than most adversaries, should be very aware of what your crew is capable of bringing. And if they are really deeply, by their very identity, opposed to your crew existing, they should know how to counter your crew. They should build themselves. If they know they're going into a space in which they may be forced to confront your crew, they should have the tools, skills, etc. necessary to do that well. They should provide a genuine challenge to the crew. If that is kind of their stated goal. More than most NPCs. There are some other ones like big bads and stuff that might have trained their crew to prepare for certain things that they know you're good at. If you're a martial artist, they probably set up snipers far away. If you are someone who, they know you have a netrunner in your crew, they'll have an equally skilled or better netrunner on theirs. These are all things that even big adversaries can do, but rival crews especially are going to know what heat you're bringing, and they're going to try as best as possible to counteract that with their own skills and equipment and things like that. And it's going to turn into a slugfest. Very much like diamonds in my Cyberpunk TCG games last night.
Look, I'll admit I am still very rusty at TCGs. I did not win any matches last night, but I have learned a lot last night. However, it could even be over the pettiest shit as well. For real low level stuff, it could even just be as petty as hey, you fucker. You fucking took my Scarlet Black Bow during the fucking loot pool.
Yep.
Give it here. I'm not asking.
I saw you buy the last pack of tropical the tropical fruit kibble. That was mine,
Oh,
asshole.
it could be like real petty shit for like, but like if we're talking like the rival crew that I'm thinking for like the Elflands crew, it's gonna be petty shit like this for my Saturday game. But if we're talking like this rival crew, sometimes they may not attack you directly. Perhaps their fixer decides, okay, I don't want to send us against this right now. Let's put this in front of them first to kind of wear them down a bit, and then get the third party.
Right.
Play them as if play the rival crew as if they're player characters.
Yep.
Give them luck. Mm-hmm. I will say, give them luck. Don't give them 8 luck. 8 luck maybe, but give them.
If they're a net runner, I might consider it, honestly.
Yeah, 8. Yeah. Rival crews or rival crews and special bosses or special characters, I will give luck to. Otherwise, avoid that. But stat them out, give them a nice kit, and even single player. But I recommend single player moding these guys every once in a while. Just kind of find. It's a good pressure test as well to see like how well they do.
Yeah.
That being said, they play them as if they are a group of players. They will know when perhaps this is not their day. Time to turn around. This isn't worth it. Time to go. We'll get them on the next one.
Yep.
And sometimes perhaps, and also give them an HQ. Give them an HQ.
That was loud. Holy moly. Yeah, no, HQ's...
Sorry. I like scooched forward for a moment. I am so sorry.
That was like, fuck, that was my ears. The HQ is genuinely like, if you're going to rival any group to them, like truly diametrically kind of try to oppose the crew, all those groups should have HQs. Yes. And they should not falter in the idea of like giving them luck because they've taken those upgrades. Don't be afraid of doing those things. They probably have the HQ just like your crew has the HQ. Yeah, give them ear trauma, says Oscar. Yeah.
Look, I'm sorry, I was scooching, and damn, my microphone be sensitive.
It do.
I think I kind of got a good wrap on this.
Yeah.
They're just another group of player characters played by you.
Yep. Correct.
What about you, Emmerron? Any final thoughts in regards to running a rival crew against the crew?
No, I think I've kind of said my piece. Yeah, like to kind of just recap briefly, like use HQs, oppose them like they planned on it. And if you're feeling really spicy, don't be afraid to tell the crew you're running for what their rivals are doing off screen in the form of scream sheets or news reports on the radio, or if they've got medias, especially, like let there be personal digs and shade thrown back the other way. Like, do these things because they will make those characters feel more real, and it'll make everything that they do that really feels oppositional to your party very personal. And that's what you want. Everything should be personal in Cyberpunk. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that kind of is it for me for that side of the topic. So I believe
so
with that
Q&A.
we go to Q&A. So let me go ahead and move this into position on my topic card here real quick. We do this one live. Very cool. There's my Q&A. So chat, now is your opportunity. If you have questions for us to provide you our answers, I can't promise that they will be unbiased and impartial, but they will be answers to your questions. In light of this, Diamond, do you have any questions from your end of the universe?
I do. So, first question. When it comes to the specialized cyber decks, What would you recommend, as I am becoming a rank 7 netrunner in the next couple sessions? Ooh.
Hummingbird is like one of the, if you're really confident
Oh, yeah.
in your ability to work without programs, Hummingbird is never a bad one. Otherwise, it starts to become a big discussion of like, what's your style? Just know that like the higher your netrunner rank, the less you have to really rely on boosters outside of a couple of like very niche scenarios. If you're rank 7, a +2 is usually enough to get you through everything but like the hardest blockers and networks. And even then, you're gonna stand a decent chance with even just a single +2.
For me, like one of my favorite decks to run for like offense, if I know I'm going after another netrunner, was the SGI Technologies Kerberos. I would just stuff some Hellhounds in there and just go after them. If I knew what I was going through at rank 7, I had that going with some hardware to keep me safe, and I was able to scoot through pretty much without much trouble from any black eyes. But the Raven Microcybernetics Phoenix is always another one that I would recommend just at any rank, especially because there is a certain program I hate in net running, and that is ASP. It is
Asps are a pain in the ass. They really are.
They oh, the Phoenix, it will return any destroyed programs back to full functioning order when you jack out.
Yeah.
So it does save on it. It's one that would probably help a lot earlier in your time of net running, but at rank 7 it doesn't hurt, especially if like you are running a very limited deck.
Yeah, like in my honest opinion, when you hit rank 7 netrunner, you're either playing the game where you're playing like a hummingbird and just like gaining extra net actions, so you can just kind of oversaturate, because like
because it's hardware only.
Anything deviate or less is below you at that point, outside of like rolling a 1 and failing that way. But if you are rolling anything other than a 1, you're succeeding anything deviate. If you roll at least a 4, you're beating anything that's DV10 without boosters. So that hummingbird is likely going to do most of what you need it to do. There is an argument to be made for like things like the Kurama decks that just negate unsafe jackouts. Those are never bad. And then it's just a matter of like what you're filling your slots in that deck with, more than it is a question of like, like, is the deck good or bad? The deck is always good. Unsafe jackout negation, like nullification, is like really, really, really good. It's never ever bad.
Microtech Scout. It's a 500 eddy one, but as soon as you jack in, you get a free Pathfinder check without using any net actions.
Yeah.
So you rolling at rank 7 for a Pathfinder check without burning any of your other 4 net actions, or like your other 3 net actions after jacking in, that's already huge. So technically you're running at 5 out the gate.
One, if you're running stealth, that also can be incredibly useful for a lot of reasons. So there is that too. Basically, any cyber decks that allow you to freely utilize programs to better your position early on, or any of the cyber decks that really lean into the fact that you already have a high interface and you need far less booster, points to like really make a difference with your net running.
Yeah,
those are the decks you're pretty much going to want to look for. You don't really need anything super fancy. Most of it's going to just boil down to like what types of like net runs do you typically find yourself well prepared for, and which ones don't you find yourself well prepared for. And if you were able to free up a number of slots on your deck that are currently occupied by programs that only do one thing and allow you to shore up your weaknesses in your other areas, that's where like just a classic excellent quality cyber deck without any real bonuses on it could also just be a good answer, because that's like
Also,
you having a higher interface gives you so much extra flexibility. It's not even funny.
tech up your gear.
Yes.
Tech up your gear.
Mhm.
Like let's see, you know, Netsuit get two hardware slots so you can free up a slot on your cyber deck if you need that. Excellent quality cyber deck takes a couple weeks. It'll take your tech about 2 weeks worth of time, but that would be 2 slots on the cyber deck, 10 slots or 10 slots on the cyber deck, 2 slots on the Netsuit.
Yeah. Well, and you can also this goes back to an old discussion Diamond and I had about what is the highest number of slots you could have in a single cyber deck. And we don't claim this is like the best way to build your Netrunner, but it certainly gives you the probably highest degree of flexibility that you can ever have.
It's a magnum opus that's really hard to achieve.
Which is like, yeah, you basically need to go with a excellent quality cyber deck that is tech upgraded to gain an extra slot. You then make this integrated into a cyber arm, which has also been tech upgraded to have an extra slot. And by integrating it, you automatically get a bonus slot that your cyber deck would not normally have. You can tech upgrade this component that integrates your cyber deck to also have an extra slot. Then for every remaining slot in your cyber arm, you install an optimized cyber deck integration, which gives you +1 additional option slot for any option slots that you have in that deck normally. And each of those can be tech upgraded to have an extra slot.
Integrated cyber deck upgrade is in black chrome.
So like you install all of this, and I believe we got it up to like, I can't remember, it was 14 or 16.
I think it was 16 by the time we got done with it, because your Netsuit as well.
Yes.
Yeah, you got another 2 on top of all that.
Yeah. So you end up with 14 slots that are Omni slots if you have a basic cyber deck, and a 2 slots that are hardware specific. You can install programs, but they can install hardware, and you'll find 2 slots worth of hardware. Like, there's no world in which you don't.
That's where you put your crash barrier and your insulated wires.
Crash barriers too.
Oh, is it?
It is. Yeah.
Right, because also because I think we also had a tech upgrade to reduce the size of the crash barrier to fit into the
you could do that
Netsuit.
You could do that. Yeah, like if you wanted to go about that, you could do that. And that just further lets you optimize. Like but the number of slots you'll have access to is 14 Omni slots and 2 additional hardware only slots. If you go about it that way, and then you can further optimize your programs from there and your hardware from there. It's stupid. That is if you want to go whole hog crazy with it. Again, it's not that we necessarily say that is the best way to go about it. It is expensive as fuck to do that.
Yeah.
But if you could do it, you kind of can just have a cyber deck that does everything.
Or Wise Man.
Or
if you can get Wise Man.
If you go Wise Man, you just literally we aren't even talking on the same level anymore at that point. Like, Wise Man is how you shoot that build into orbit. That's at that point it's like, you need me to hack a network? No, I don't need to know what type of network. Watch this, and you're done with it in 5 seconds. Because it's like you're just able to scream through that with every tool known to man. Wise Man just wins net running, yeah.
Because you have the cyberconductor put into the Wise Man, and you just access all your cyber decks that way.
Yeah, it's gross.
Disgusting.
It's gross. You could just do that.
All right, next question. Oh, What martial art would you recommend for any non-combat, like I am a non-combatant in my party. What
Okay.
martial art do you recommend that I carry to at least help somehow in combat? Ooh, Charlie Foot is not a bad one.
Well, Charlie Foot still requires hitting in a lot of cases. If you are a non-combatant, so I am interpreting, and this may or may not be what the person who asked this question intended, but if you are purely non-combatant and your whole shtick is only doing stuff that is like either defensive or allows you to kind of slip around things, then let me...
Tai Chi, perhaps?
Tai Chi is not a bad one. I'm pulling up Cyber Fist of Fury just so that I'm like not talking completely on my ass. Because again, martial arts are expansive now. Martial arts are very expansive now, and they have a lot to them.
There is judo as well.
Let's see. So Tai Chi, you have joint manipulation, which just lets you lock out their hand. And then Lu, which is once per turn, when you fulfill this requirement, you can make a martial arts special move resolution against a DV equal to the martial arts special move resolution that satisfied this move's requirement. If you succeed, their martial arts special move resolution fails unless they immediately respond by using Lu themselves and beat the DV established by your Lu check. So yeah, Tai Chi is like pure defensive. So like that is one way you could do that, because that joint manipulation alone is going to shut out two-handed weapons entirely. So that is a really solid one.
I guess there's Thamok as well, because like the way, like how to help in a fight. I mean, if you want to get into the grapple, Thamok's not a bad choice either.
Yeah, I would say Thamok is also a pretty solid one.
Yeah. Looking at judo, you can also counter throw and also use grab escape in that case, and that's from the core book. Trying to think if there's any other like disarming.
Wrestling could also kind of serve you, because if we more loosely interpret non-combatant of like, okay, you're going to get them into a grapple and choke them out into unconsciousness and not necessarily to kill them, then wrestling could allow you to hold your own in like close quarters kind of grapple fights. You could go, this one's a little bit weird, but if you are the kind of non-combatant that wants to have a back pocket way of taking like evasive action against certain things, you could do kendo for cut the bullet. Cut the bullet is like really cool for defensive stuff. You aren't going to get anything out of the like stance option that they have for taking headshots easier, but you absolutely could cut bullets. Drunken Fist lets you improvise your environment and lucky stumble your way through your getting hit. So yeah, there's some decent options. I think the top two though definitely would be like Thamok or Tai Chi. Those are probably your top two if you are like a hardcore non-combatant, because neither of those are damage focused.
Because the way I read it, it's like still being helpful in a fight. Yeah, like Thamok and Tai Chi would probably be the best ones, and probably Drunken Fist would not be a bad third, or Judo.
Yeah. I could see that. Yeah. But yeah, those would be some options for you to consider. Another thing that is separate from martial arts that you can now consider as well, if you haven't yet, you can consider as long as your GM allows for it at their table, there is the tactical Overwatch rule that we just got in Secretary Power a few months ago, that if you use that and have a high enough tactics score, you can constantly be offering +1s to your whole party until your next turn in the combat, to give them a +1 on their actions. That is also an option for you.
And I guess if you really think about it, stun gun and gun fu can work because it's a rate of fire 2 weapon.
That's true. You could stun gun gun fu is kind of wild, but yeah, you could do it.
Stun gun fu, I love it. Stun fu. Next one. I know you both are Elflines Online nerds.
We are.
I need some hacks for the game to invent. Do you have some ideas?
If you want to look at several of the ones that I interpreted off of what James put into Derek Seiler's guide, excuse me. There is my gig I wrote, Pay to Win. It is over on my Patreon. Anyone who is interested in checking that one out, I will link my Patreon in chat here. It is also below in all of our descriptions. That is something where if you go to my Adventures tab, Pay to Win is in there. There are some magic items, kind of gear in that supplement that I put in there, just because it is something that we never really get explicit instruction as to like what these things do within the context of Yellow. So I took some of what James wrote more roughly and codified it into rules text. Some of them are my own interpretations of things, but yeah, I would recommend that would be one resource you could look at right now to just get like a library of ideas. But yeah, Diamond, what have you got?
Well, one of my favorite ones I actually introduced back in Eddie's and Elflines was /mod weapon murder knife. One of our the fixer of the party decided to buy some illegal items to have on your person, and one of them is /mod murder knife. And basically, it is very much it's very much what it says. It's a murder knife. It just instantly kills things, including other player characters. It's a very illegal item to have. It shows up on the logs. It was not kept in Bedlam's possession for that long. It got disappeared pretty quickly when the mods found it.
I wouldn't be surprised if his character just got banned outright for using it.
He just used it on a burner account. Always like, you know, you like in Dark Souls, there are the forbidden items that like are just not allowed to be possessed by players because they were just considered too powerful. You could drop those in as hacks. You make custom items that just do weird shit to the game. Perhaps, you know, you have a shield that instead of functions as, you know, perhaps you have a golem's heart that doesn't require 2 hands. It only requires 1 hand. Perhaps basically it's like you could tech invent items and mod them in ways. Perhaps you invent a hack to remove gold from nearby player characters. Perhaps you set off miasmas, or like miasma fissures. I'm trying to remember what term they used for. Was it rift?
Yeah, they're I believe. Oh man, now I never. Hold on, I will look this up right now, because
I would say just be careful on what kind of stuff you're inventing and throwing into the game, because this is stuff that, you know, is happening within Segatari's domain. Segatari will hear it.
Yes, they will.
Let's see. It's in Magic Returns, isn't it?
It is, and I am literally on the DLC right now, and I'm looking at it. So Magic of the Elflands.
Oh, Miasma Breaches.
Yeah, Miasma Breaches, that's what it is. So yeah, so it's just literal, like, when you are looking to deal with that or work with those, you could do some fucky shit in there. I definitely encourage you, because ELO even started as just a hack of the red rules. So what I would recommend, honestly, is look at items in Cyberpunk Red and think to yourself, what if I translated this to ELO and then made it even more broken? And I'm not talking about like the little piddly weapons. I'm talking about like serious heavyweight weapons like the Perseus, right? And then like
arms 3516.
Make a Perseus equivalent that is ELO, and then like find ways to make that even more broken. And there you go, you got your hacked weapon. It's like making ROF2 5d6 one-handed ranged weapon of some kind. Or like if you want to make it more magical, use spell stones and like create your own custom spells that are like just really like power word kill and shit like that. Like you could do some you could do some funny shit with that, like just GM / commands, like what Diamond was just talking about.
Also, of course, other hacks include multi-boxing. You could just bring more of you into the dungeon with you.
Yeah. Multi-boxing's funny. Like that could be cute.
Oh, what other? I'm trying to think like what other weird I guess I haven't really seen a lot of weird stuff in FF14 to really, come off the top of my head.
Well, in 14, we don't have too much in the way of hacking. You could, the really funny one, if you want to make a 14 hack reference, though, would be a satellite camera. Like, literally a hack that lets the players zoom the camera way out from their character and gives them, like, a +3 to any evasion attempts they make against the enemies, because they could see the whole arena. For those of you who don't know the deep lore on that one, there was an ultimate raid called... it was the Omega Protocol Ultimate top, for those of you in the know. And there was the group that got world first kill on this thing, had a hack on at least one of their players, if not more of them, that allowed them to see the whole battlefield far more than the max range of the normal game camera normally would let you. So they had like obviously like a very good situational awareness that like 90% of players just wouldn't have. Like it would be like you wouldn't have this if you were playing the game by normal rules, right? So they got their world first title stripped from them, and they, I believe, got banned. Like their whole free company got banned. But that is literally what's that's what that satellite would kind of give you, is like, oh, you just have perfect situational awareness, nothing sneaks up on you, so you get like a +4 to perception checks and a +4 to your evasion checks, because you can just see these things coming that most players just don't have that situational awareness of. So that could be a funny hack if you wanted to reference something from that space. It could be a funny one.
Of course, there is no PvP, where there have been people in games that I've seen basically make themselves impervious to any PvP attacks that happen in there, and that would be a very expensive hack to produce.
Sure.
Like, that's gonna cost you a lot of eddies, and it could really throw up some flares if you get caught with it. Gosh, I'm trying to think what other stuff, what other screwy shit. There is also, of course, just simple ones as, for the need greed pass pool, just always rolling 100 on it.
There's that too, yeah. Like in a instance where you're rolling for loot rather than rolling, you auto assume a victory on that. Really fun thing is if you are making these hacks into a collected document for use as like a game aid beyond just like for your table as just ideas. Another way that could be fun for you to kind of incorporate this is create a likelihood for a GM to notice the hack's use, and then basically make a roll every time a hack gets used, and then determine whether or not the player is noticed for using a hack. And if they are, then create a... you could either just make it so that the player's account gets banned because Secretary ain't got time for that shit, or you could, if you wanted to take a layer deeper, you could devise a way by which you create like a kind of like most MMOs do, where they've got this gradient of punishment based on like, hey, this is your first time, this is a relatively minor offense, so we're going to ban you for 3 days, then you ban them for like 2 weeks, then you ban them for like a month, and then they permabanned on like the 4th attempt or whatever. So like you could do that too. There's a part of this question that is making me feel like I might want to try my hand at making this list, but if someone else is already making it, obviously I don't want to step on anyone's toes. But like there's a system here, and this could be really, really funny, especially in light of what our most recent DLC was for Cyberpunk Red directly from Artal. Creating a translation package or something like that to ELO would be really, really funny. I would not be opposed to that.
Last question. Why don't we have actual disease mechanics in Cyberpunk Red?
Ask Diamond that. She wants them.
You'll see it in a couple months.
Yeah. I mean,
once I have a little more free time, don't worry.
Yeah, disease.
I'm going to distribute it to some GMs and let them have their go with it.
Disease is something that I do think we should have some taste of in Cyberpunk. I feel like, especially for the degree that it is, it regularly enough shows up in the lore that like outbreaks of bird flu or SARS-CoV-3 or like they predicted this recurrence of the SARS virus. That was not far off of reality.
Radiation sickness.
Radiation sickness, yeah, that's a pretty common one.
Also talk of like cancer rates going up.
AIDS 2
as well.
AIDS 2 is a thing.
Yep.
So like, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Can we get sprained back to the critical injuries table?
That's spinal injury.
It's pretty much spinal injury, but yeah, I mean, Diamond immediately, when we went and grabbed her from the hospital after they looked her over, she said, I'm going to call bullshit. Spinal injury should not just be you lose an action. It should be you cannot move for the next like day or something. Because it's like
you're stuck. You can only crawl.
Yeah, that's because that's pretty much where she got to. So yeah, it's trust me. Sprained back is just spinal injury, and they undersold it, if anything.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's all the questions. But like in regards to disease, that is something that I can't really give a hard ruling on. I'm kind of like working out what the mechanics would be for it.
Yeah.
For the supplement that I'm trying to produce.
Well, and I think I think disease kind of should exist more as a you determine how that looks for your crew.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of nuance to disease in terms of like, let's think about this for just a moment, a layer deeper than game mechanics. Mm-hmm. You, as an author, whether a homebrew author or someone at Artal, like J or James, writes a article that adds diseases to the game. Diseases are not something to be taken super lightly, obviously. There are a lot of people that are afflicted by some really, really bad ones that we cannot cure, at least right now. And those, like, if you do that wrong, right, you interpret that in a way that is too far from the truth or doesn't feel serious enough, or even just the fact that you're trying to make a game mechanic or a gamification of a real disease at all, that could come across as like deeply insensitive to the people who are suffering with that in real life. So anything that goes along with that, you have to be like really careful about and be sensitive to that. And it's almost like what we were talking about with net running in the first half of the episode. it leaves a design space open for you and your group, your GM, you as players, to really determine like, what do we want this to look like within our world that we are creating? Because we have things like critical injuries that serve as decent analogs for symptoms and things like that. And we've got implied disadvantage stuff like -1s, 2s, 4s for doing certain things. So like if you really wanted to make disease an element, you have the tools to kind of stitch that all together for yourself. But in my mind, that needs to be a conversation with every new table, because some people are going to look at that as like a hard line for them, and they don't want to contend with that because maybe they're doing that in real life, or someone near them is contending with that. Maybe they like right now, I'm not ashamed to share, like, my dad got diagnosed with skin cancer. Now he'll be able to get that treated, but like, thankfully it wasn't far along. It wasn't that serious, but like he's going through that right now. And I can say pretty safely that like, while I'm not opposed to that being an element in a game, someone gamifying something like that, if it was any more serious and I was really grappling with it and like having to go through like grief associated with something like that, that would not be an easy pill to swallow. I would not feel great about that. So that's probably why we don't have it yet.
Like with the disease supplement, that is something that I'm taking into mind, and that was something that I was going to share as well, is like, you know, being thoughtful about how you're handling it. I am probably going to avoid any of the IRL diseases. I know AIDS 2 and SARS 3 are in the lore, but as someone that's part of the LGBT community, AIDS is a very... I'm not going to say it's a touchy subject, but it's a very important subject in our community. Yeah. Because it has it's deadly. There's no cure for it. And it has caused a lot of emotional and political turmoil within our own community. Yeah. So that's why I'm leaning towards things like the dollar flu from The Division, radiation sickness from Fallout. And I'm looking to other games for inspiration on how did they do it and how would I put it into the Time of the Red. Right. Of course, you know, we've got, you know, the wasting plague that hit in Cyberpunk, but that would be very much like, what would that look like? And that's a very lethal disease. Like, I don't want to go for lethal. I want to go for stuff that might be inhibiting. Right. And give medtechs other stuff. Because, like, I guess it's something that's just not really explored in medtechs. Like, we see the surgeon side of them, the pharmacist side of them, them dealing with serious, grievous wounds, but we never see them deal with the invisible enemies. Right.
So, I think that this boils down to, like, this will probably be more of a what guidelines do you use to govern disease in your setting, as opposed to it being like highly specific, like, hey, this is how you model through game mechanics. You model cancer or you model AIDS or whatever. Like, you're going to be more, it's more, I think, a discussion of like how, if you as a GM want to model that in your world and use that as a mechanic, that needs to, one, be a discussion with your players. To any of the people out there who are session 0 doubters, because I know when I made a video around running session 0 on my own channel, so important. There were people who said, no thanks, that's lame, I don't want to do a session 0. And to those people, I would say, your players will one day look at you and tell you that crossed a line, and you're going to be like, but I'm just playing a game. We're touching on dark subject matter all the time in Cyberpunk. The least you can do is make sure that you're doing it in a way that is still a fun time, because this is a game. This is not reality. And so a lot of those things need to be discussions with your table first before they are ever made into game mechanics. And disease, I think, is a very solidly within the region of things to talk about with your table if you want them to be a plot point. Because anything beyond that is... it gets very personal very quickly, and you don't want to hurt people's feelings that way when you're running a game, especially if they're your friends. Like, the last thing you want to do is break someone's heart around you without knowing what they've gone through.
Yeah. And also last note as well, when we're talking about disease, also mental disorder. We have cyberpsychosis.
Yep.
There are, especially in the tabletop community, you will encounter many people that are neurodivergent, or they suffer, and like I'm going to put a little wall between the two of them. Some people have things that they are struggling with: depression, anxiety, trauma, long-term, PTSD, and others where, we happen to be a little different. And that's not trying to be demeaning in any way whatsoever. I like, with this whole thing of disease, I'm going to be avoiding those outright, just because of the simple fact I don't know how to approach those topics. Cyberpsychosis, that has already been discussed as you are looking at parts of your body as this is a machine attached to me, versus
right,
this is part of me.
You're no longer looking at a human body or a person as a person. Like, the way that it literally is described in the book is you begin looking at yourself and others as collections of parts, and
Yes.
Parts are not people. And that means that when you stop viewing people as anything but a collection of parts, you cease to see the problem with disassembling them.
Yeah.
And, dehumanizing them. So and even that requires, like, a degree of how deep you want to go. Like, I know John has spoken in his videos about how he won't allow his tables in some cases to ever even drop into empathy 2 territory. Like, he will, like, he is very, the way he's talked about it makes it sound like he doesn't want to address those topics at his table, which is fine and fair and completely understandable. Like, that is for people to determine for themselves, like, what their line is. That said, this is a place where I disagree with John. At my table, I'm like, ride it all the way down. Like, if we're gonna tell that story, just know that when you start diving down that rabbit hole, read the checklist here, and you need to be ready, because I'm going to call on you to start seeing, hearing, and experiencing these things as you are role-playing your character. And when you start doing that, we are going to enter a degree where you are not probably going to feel great about things your character does, or the way your character would react to something. I might even at times strip a moment of agency from you, because that is what impulsive behavior is like. So, like, if you are doing that, understand that is the discussion that we are having, and then you leave it in the player's hands. Like, if you are going down that rabbit hole, this is where that rabbit hole leads. Just be aware. And it's consent.
And Oscar, what about biosculpting that makes your outer person match your inner person? So actually, we've explored this at my table before, and as somebody who does suffer from gender dysphoria.
Yeah.
Where, sometimes I look at my body and, like, oh fuck, what is going on with me? Or, some people have body dysmorphia. Standard biosculpting does not cause humanity loss. Exotic biosculpting, you are adding parts of you to you that will contribute to the general humanity loss, but it should not be like tanks you to 0. But I have also seen it where, and I think Jay Gray has even talked about this before, where if somebody gets biosculpting to, complete, like, perhaps gender affirming care, or perhaps, and like some people have made the argument about what about the Mr. Stud or the Midnight Lady.
Sure.
There still has to be the cause for the fact that it's cyberware. But in the CEMK, we also have important things happen to you.
Yeah.
That can, like completing your sculpt to make yourself look correct to your own liking.
Yeah.
That's a 3d6 humanity gain event right there.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of the thing is, bear in mind that the humanity gain rules in the CEMK are not exhaustive. That is not a that's not an exhaustive list, nor is it a solely prescriptive list. You can fit other things into those categories, knowing that that's kind of where the guidelines are. So like, if your goal is to get biosculpted because you're role playing someone who is going through that struggle, because that's the narrative you want to tell with your character, hell yeah. Like, then we're talking humanity gains. We're going to discuss that, but that is going to be a discussion that, again, we aren't going to hard codify it into game mechanics. Instead, we're going to give you guidelines and leave it for you and your GM to discuss how the positives of that weigh for your person in that game, for your context.
And I guess actually I thought new human, or, and we look at the exotics. Perhaps, you're using the exotics. You're still going to take that humanity loss.
Yes.
You will. At my table, you will.
Yep.
But because it completes your identity.
Yeah.
And this is something you've been striving for.
Yeah.
Then there's the humanity gain that follows
at the end of the month. Yeah. And the loss comes mostly through the shock and recovery of needing to literal come back from like getting your body carved up and changed. Like, that's, anyone who's had major surgery, I think, would attest, like, that there is a degree to which, like, that shit sucks ass. I am talking very specifically to one of those people across from me right now. But whenever you have to undergo that, there is a degree in the aftermath where that shit sucks. Once that period of suck is over, you are going to feel way better because like, hey, this part of my identity has been salved, right? I now more closely resemble the thing that is my ideal image or my inner image, however you want to parse or phrase that. And that is inevitably, that's going to be great for your mental health. There's two ways about that.
Also, hi Bishy, hi Raiders, welcome to the end of stream.
Hello.
I think I will find a place to send you guys onto here after Wireheads. But for anyone who's joining, welcome to Wireheads, the podcast that we do every week. We're kind of like getting ready to close out here.
We're right at the end.
We went from some like really like, man, these questions went from like really fun to like, oh wow, this is some heavy, thoughtful. But
that's
at least
thoughtful.
but at least not mournful. Discussion.
But So again, just to recap this last question before we sign off, disease and anything around whether it's physical disease or mental illness, recommendation would be use the tools and guidelines you've already got. Use things like the critical injury table, use things like your pluses and minuses that are afforded you on the like when you're dealing with like a difficulty, and start there if you really want it to be a thing at your table, but also recognize that it's a very serious topic and you should not implement this without full player consent. That is an incredibly important element of all of this. Your players need to be consenting and aware of like, this is how this will work. And so if you guys enter for example, like if you want to model radiation sickness, this is the way we're going to do it. If you spend this long within a radiation zone, this is the way that this is going to start to impact you in the short term. We might roll a chance die then. And if so, this is maybe something that could happen long term, yada, yada, yada. Right. Like, so, but you want to talk that whole plan out with your players before you ever experience it in game the first time.
Unless you're planning to tell a tragedy, make sure there's a solution. It doesn't have to be easy. One of my players was suffering from basically their body was what I think it was necrosis, or I'm trying to remember what exactly the name of the disease was, where their body they were just dying. They were going to die soon, and they were trying to find an answer. Yeah, and because it was something in their genes. Yeah. and we found an answer for it. That it was a very tough. It was very tough for them to find what they needed, but they got it. So,
Cyber Anaconda, Cyber Rat Kings, and are about to deal with the Cyber Wolves and Cyber Panther, all powered by full-blown AI. I'm not sure they could handle radiation poisoning too.
Well, I mean, there's rabies, there's Lyme disease, there's all sorts of great diseases out there that are treatable that you can probably put on these creatures.
Rabies is questionably treatable, but on that happy note, guys, this has been the Wireheads podcast.
Yeah, I'll give a shout out to you, Bishy here. They are a player in one of my campaigns. They're going to be coming back in Orange Horizon, but they're also GMing as well. And their campaigns, from what I have witnessed, are out there but amusing. It's good stuff.
Yes.
So, that being said, Emmerron, do you have anything on your end?
In terms of Q&A or in terms of upcoming announcements?
Both.
Q&A, no. Upcoming announcements. So, we talked about this briefly on my half of the episode, but just to remind everyone, Diamond and I are going to be at Gen Con this year. We are also going to be running games. She's going to be running hers on Thursday afternoon of Gen Con. I will be running mine that same night. So if you want to sign up for our games, our names are on the listing. Hers is going to be Card Heist with Diamond Dust. Mine is A Sinking Feeling with Emmerron. So if you want to sign up for one of our tables and be a player there, we each, I believe, have 6 seats available.
Yes.
That is going to be it. So if you want to play a game with us at Gen Con, we would love to have you. Get your tickets soon. Get them quickly. They will sell out. I guarantee it. But otherwise, other announcements. I personally will be at the Great Plains Game Festival in 2 weeks in Lincoln, Nebraska. I'll be going there to be running Daggerheart. With me will be my friend Robert, who will be running Shadowscar. We are also, if any of you live in that area and are interested in joining us there to run games, we do need 2 more GMs, one to run Daggerheart and one to run Tunnels and Trolls. So if you're interested, please feel free to reach out, DM me. You can find me on my Discord server, which I will post in here again for those of you who are here with us live. If you would like to find me and send that to me, you can also do that. It's going to be in the descriptions below, both on Spotify and on YouTube. And so, yes, so that is something coming up in 2 weeks. And then 2 weeks again after that, I will be going to Las Vegas for something that is not a TTRPG. I will be helping out at MagicCon as a vendor there. So if you are going to be at MagicCon, I will be there. And I would love to say hi to you if any of you will be there as well. But aside from that, that is like the next month kind of stuff. But otherwise, that's it.
All right. I guess on my half, in regards to Gen Con Adventures, if you want something that's like, you know, super like high action, very deadly, very like tense, sign up for A Sinking Feeling. If you want something a little zany, lighthearted, something to kick the convention off and maybe lampoon a little bit on something that happened at Gen Con a few years ago, sign up for Card Heist. We'll see you there. Yep. I'm always happy to meet people while at Gen Con. I will also be running other games on behalf of Artel, likely Shadowscar this year. Maybe Fossilized Violence, but very likely Shadowscar. And also, if anybody saw on the Kickstarter, Shadowscar prints, they're on their way out, according to the Kickstarter. And if you want to help me with because I am in the midst of still trying to find some stable employment. I'm just a freelancer as of now. If you would like to help me get to Gen Con, I would appreciate any contributions to the Throne goal below. When we hit 450, you guys get to decide what supplement I'm going to be releasing when I get back from Gen Con.
Hell yeah.
You tell me what you want, I will make it happen.
Very cool. All
So,
right.
with that, I got nothing.
Yeah. We're like 20 minutes over. So
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
it's all good.
We had some good discussion, though.
We did.
So I think on that, as always, I'm Diamond Dust.
And I'm Emmerron.
And we will see you next week.
Yep.
An hour later, though.
Yeah. We will be starting 5:30 Pacific next week. We'll see you then. Goodbye, everybody. Bye.
Bye.